because you have to give a examination. At least the 30 marks, you have the idea that if we can do the assignment, so we can do the assignment on SQL assignments. So that 30 marks we can only take on SQL. Do you have any complaint for that? That if
Ma'am,
the total 30 marks assignment will be on SQL?
ma'am, are you recording the class?
No, right now I am not. Because it's not recording part. When I will start my lecture, I will record.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you.
Okay. It's not the lecture part. I am just want to clarify the things so that I can put the stress on which part. Means if you have the idea that you want to learn the SQL properly, then the assignment you have the idea that instead of class test, right now it is in the online section. So 30 marks on assignment. Yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So that 30 marks I can put in the SQL assignments. Means the total 30 marks will be in SQL assignment. So weekly or in a month, at least 3 months we can get for this semester. So in 1 month, one assignment, it will carry 10 marks. Like that, we can do that. And the 70 marks in the examination, some theory, some SQL, that will be there. Simran, do you have any problem if it will be on SQL? If anyone have any problem, you can say here. So that before going to start the class, it will be clear that what you want, and that way I will teach you, because it's an online classes. If you have any problems, it is very difficult to discuss after that. So that's why you can.
Ma'am, in this class,
Hmm.
other than SQL, what can we learn from this syllabus? Means
If
previous.
you want to learn, the DBMS is a huge syllabus. Okay, for the ITCS students, actually, they have what is DBMS, how we can design the DBMS transactions. Okay, how we can better our the structure of the DBMS. That is the normalization portion. The transaction, different types of transaction or concurrency control, means multiple transactions are executing concurrently at that time, how we can manage them. That is called the concurrency. The total syllabus I am telling you what you have: the concurrency control protocol. Okay, the query, the what is the syllabus written there? Actually, the query, when you are writing a SQL query, we can rectify our query. That is the query processing, the query analyzing. So these are your total syllabus. The database designing, different types of topics, and in for the IT students or computer science student, it's a vast syllabus. So now, what I can do, what you want, that is my question.
I would prefer a SQL more stress on SQL.
If anyone have any problem regarding that, they can say. Okay, the SQL, most of the students prefer to learn the SQL properly. Okay, means the handling the DBMS, the just like a laboratory classes. As if anyone has problem on that if I put the 100 marks, 50 marks on stress on the SQL, means in the examination 20 marks will be from SQL and 50 marks from the theory, and assignment totally 30 marks will be on SQL part, means the 50 SQL, 50 theory. Okay, like that. If anyone have any problem, do you prefer that?
Regarding the 50 marks from the theory,
Hmm.
like should we get some guidance regarding that, like the pattern of question or some notes?
Definitely. That will help. I help you. Definitely. The slides I will provide you, which type of questions will come, that also I take the class, no problem. Don't worry about that. I want to know that you want to learn the SQL part, or I just complete the theory. That is the thing. Okay. Okay. So now, as most of you want to learn the SQL properly, and that's why I take your suggestion that 50 marks will be on SQL part and 50 marks theory. Okay. And in that 50 marks, 30 marks will come from your assignment or class test, anything you can say. Okay. And 20 marks in the that semester exam. Okay. Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Clear? Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Anyone have any confusion? Okay. And that assignment, 30 marks assignment, I will put three SQL assignments, not one after another. I will teach you some part. After that, I give you one assignment, you will solve it. And I put a date that within that date you have to submit. Next, I will provide you with another assignment. Okay. So three assignment will be there. Each will carry 10 marks. Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, those who
Okay, ma'am.
want to learn the SQL, how many of you have available laptop or desktop computers with you? Means if I say any software to install in your computer, it will be possible. Mm, 24, 20, 25. Okay. So those who have the problem, you can mail me. I can suggest you the different thing. Okay. Now, those who can install any one thing, you can install either Oracle 10G. I can provide you in the classroom the link from where you can download, or if you can download SQL Server. Okay. After that, I will provide a normal home. It's not home assignment. No marks will carry there. For your practice, one assignment I will upload there, and you will practice that. If you have any problem, you can inform me. Okay. So before start the SQL part, some preliminary theory you have to learn, then only you can execute, or you can learn the SQL properly. So I just start with it. Okay, the mainly the introduction part. After that I will start. Okay, now the recording part. Okay. Now, one by one, tell me what is DBMS? What is your idea? Anyone? Any idea? What is DBMS?
Man, a software for storing user data.
Storing data. Okay. So I have a Microsoft doc file. You know that. Okay. If I put all the data there, may I call it? It is a DBMS.
No, man.
Why?
Because it cannot be accessed online.
Ma'am,
Then I have to
by
access
DBMS,
properly. Hmm.
yes,
Yes, Subi.
by DBMS we can access the data file storage and in proper sequence, which we can't by the C language. Means from a data sheet we just access two or three parts.
Now one thing.
Ma'am, it is not memory efficient.
Which one?
That Word file is not memory efficient.
What is memory efficient? No problem there. I can store everything. Size is also very small. Where is the problem then?
It is hard to query the a document. If you
Yes.
want to retrieve based on some structure, it is not possible in case of Word file.
Yes.
Uh,
The query is
and
very difficult. If I need any information and I write, I want that. What is the name of fourth student in this class from your roll sheet? It's very difficult to find out it. I have to find it out manually or search button. Okay, one by one I have to search. It's not intelligent one that it can show me, isn't it?
yes, ma'am.
So one
Also,
problem is with the word file, it is not searching efficiency is not there. Okay, next.
And persistence of data.
Huh? Yes,
Persistence of data.
persistence of data. That is also one problem. Persistence of data. If you change this thing, you have to manually save it. Otherwise, it will be lost. Next, anyone else?
also like
Hmm?
the file might get easily corrupted, like if the access is not limited, like if multiple things are trying to access simultaneously the Word file, it might get corrupted. We need to guarantee some extra precaution while writing uh,
Yes.
to
So
guarantee.
that is actually the concurrency control. Okay, all the terms in the DBMS. Concurrently, if multiple user want to access the same file, okay, you have to provide some algorithm so that this will not cause any problem or any corruption in your file. Okay, the term is concurrency control, which is not present in Word, Microsoft Word. Now, these actually called the file processing system. Okay, the traditional Word, Excel, these are called Excel also. You can access this thing from C language, no problem. But the problem is it's not concurrently multiple user cannot access. Or
Excuse me,
if
ma'am.
only, huh?
Someone
Yes.
is trying to enter.
Okay, okay. Actually, if I change the screen, then I can't. Okay, I have allowed. Okay, first I discuss this thing, after that I'll take it. Okay, so the concurrency control is not possible. Next, any other thing? What do you think?
And can it be data validation?
That data validation means?
Means means whether it is sanity of data is present or not. That can be enforced in a database that only the criteria has to match for the data to be entered.
Yes, that is called the domain. Those who have the idea about the C language or any other languages, in your, I think HS you have learned, most of you have learned the C or Java. Okay, you have the idea whenever you are declaring a variable, you have to mention the type, isn't it? And whenever you are declaring the variable type, then a domain or a range, for example, if I say integer, you have an idea it will be from minus infinity to plus infinity, and it's a whole number, isn't it? So that is the domain. In Word, there is no checking, or Excel, there is no checking in a box. If you are putting the number, you cannot check that if anyone entered the instead of number any character, there is no mechanism to check that it will taking the correct value or not. Okay, that you want to mean, isn't it?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Next, any other thing? Anyone? Any other problem?
Access control might be difficult in Word. We might want to guarantee that some program is not able to modify something and whereas someone else is able to modify that. So security, like source-based security, is hard to implement. Like we need to manually implement that if you want to use a word file.
Hmm. You have to protect with the password, right?
Yes.
Yes, that is the that is called the authentication or authorization. Okay. So whenever you anyone want to enter into the system or access your file, you cannot protect it from the other user. Those who can access the laptop or access the desktop, they can open your file. That is one problem with the traditional file system. Okay. So now uh, all these problems we have discussed that will be overcome in DBMS. So how, the first question is, if I store the data in Excel file, okay, so it will be very easy to access one by one. Now, what is the problem with access? That is, all these we have discussed. That is, it is not safe. Anyone can open it. Next, if I put anything in the column, that is the domain specific or not. It's the term is domain specific. It is the domain specific or not, or it is the taking the any invalid data or not, that nothing is provided there. Okay. Another thing, that concurrency, if concurrent user want to access it, then also it can be corrupted, anyone changing anything. So if we add all these property and we can store the data just like the Excel format and all thing we are discussing, so it becomes a DBMS. Now tell me, what can be the definition of a database? Try, not the book is done.
Collection of data maybe.
Hmm?
Collection of related data.
Collection of written related data, and what are the other things we require?
Database is basically like a library.
Which type of library? Clarify me.
Books library where we can access any type of book which we want. Same with database, we can access any type of data, whatever we have stored.
So what I require, what I need to store it like a library, what are the other things you can have?
Some particular characteristics of fields that define the object.
Characteristics we can store. Okay. Next, any other thing, that is all about the data we are storing. Other than storing data, any other thing we require? Hmm?
Ma'am, database is a collection of information that can be organized. We can update or manage in the way we want.
So what we require then for managing, for accessing, for all those things? What are the things we require with our data? Set of protocols. So who will manage those protocols?
And there are four important operations which every database must support.
No, that is fine. That I am agreed with you. For making this package, what you require? I say
Some
this.
some programs.
Yes, with my data, we need some programs for all these four properties you are telling you, not four, more than four actually. For everything we are talking about, for accessing, those who have learned the data structure, you have the idea when you are storing it in an array or in a linked list, then we need some other programs to access them, isn't it? Those who have the idea about data structure, when you are storing it in a array, you are storing in your all linked list, then you need to access it, and some code or program we require to access them. So database is basically, now the definition of the database. Database is the collection of interrelated data. Okay, means with a student record, we do not put the information about the how many books are there in a library. So in a file where we are putting the information about the student, where we only put the information about the student, the name of the student, roll number of the students, all those things. Okay. So basically, database is a collection of interrelated data and some programs to access or manage them. That is the basic thing. Is it clear? Can you watch the slide?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Okay.
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. So now I go to the database. Now read it. You can read it. So it database basically is the just like a computerized record keeping system. Okay, and the database management system is the total software package. And what is there actually in the DBMS or database management system? The collection of interrelated data and a set of programs to access those data. Okay, so not only the data, for accessing those data we need some programs, and all these actually make the database. Okay? And database is the large volume. Now one by one the terms, when we talked about the database, basically in the database the database files are there, and database files means actually you can think about a table like structure. In table like structure, each attribute will carry some particular information of an object, okay, or a entity. For example, if I talked about Saurabh, the name of Saurabh, then the roll number, then the which subject, which department, power engineering department, okay, like that. So the database actually is the collections of files, and one files means you can think about a table. Okay, it's a tabular format. The file is a tabular format where some rows are there and some columns are there. Rows are particular information about a particular entity, and columns are particular attributes. Okay, and one row called one record, and field is basically an attribute. And byte and bits, you have the idea, and all those things together we call the database. Clear? Now, some terms you will learn in the database, or you can find it out. That is one term most of the time we will use, that is entity. Entity is basically a real world object, okay, either physical or logical, it is exist. Tell me some physical example of entity.
Student.
Student. Okay. Now, entity is basically the a particular student. Okay. For example, um, anything in your class. Okay. Okay. For example, uh, a student, if I want to store the information about the if I want to store the information about the student, okay, for this class, okay, how many attributes or how many characteristics you think that I have to store? Characteristics, tell me some
Ma'am,
characteristics. Yes.
roll number, roll
Roll
number,
number, very good. Next.
registration number,
Registration number.
marks
Name,
in a subject,
Marks in a subject. Do I put this thing with
department,
the student?
Name, ma'am, name.
Hmm?
Department.
Department. Okay,
Name.
this is the thing, means the DBMS tell you after this lecture you will understand which attributes we put in which table. Means if we put the marks table with the student tables, then it will be unmanageable, because in every semester, if we look, each every semester you can have 6 to 7 subjects, and if we put these marks with your student table, actually what will be the volume for each student? The total 48 subject in this 4 years B goes. Okay, so some guidelines are there, that which are the attributes we can put with one particular entity, or which are the attribute we will put in another table. Okay, so uh, mm, for a student table, we can put those things which are totally related with the student and that is required. So, name, roll number, phone number, email ID if you have, department. These are the information which will be required with the students, and it will rarely change. Okay, so when we create that table, it is very important what are the attribute we are selecting for it. That is very much mandatory thing. Okay, and next one important uh, term, that is key field. Okay, the key field. How many of you have idea about key field? What is key field?
A field that is unique to any kind entity.
Yes, uniquely we can identify a particular entity. Okay, in the student table, what is the unique table or unique thing?
Name.
Roll number.
Roll number.
Their roll number.
In our university, roll number is a unique thing. Any other thing? Registration number and year.
Their email address.
Registration number and year, isn't it? Uh,
Yes, ma'am.
email address, if anyone do not have the email ID, two or more can share. So you have to mandatorily say you have to put your own email ID. Then it becomes mandatory. Sorry, unique. Okay, so there are also some guidelines which can be a key field, which cannot be. But those field which we uniquely identify a entity, that called the key field. Clear? A field with the phone number, if it is unique, or only if I tell one student is using only one phone number, then phone number is a unique feature. If I say the a student use only its own mail ID, then mail ID also a unique feature, it can be a key field also. And different types of keys are there, we will learn. Next, these are basically some file processing systems and concept. Now the problem already we have discussed, that what are the problems are there with the traditional file processing system, that is data redundancy and inconsistency. Data redundancies means in the Excel file, if we put the same record again and again, there is no option to check that you are putting the same record once again. If I put your record once again, or if any student's record will copy it more than one times, okay, there is no checking for that. That is one thing. Another problem is if I put 2 or 3 times your record in an Excel file, and suppose you say that, ma'am, my phone number is changed, and one record I just search your name and change the phone number in one record, but there was 3 records. Okay, so what happened then? Suppose in a table your record is put in 3 times. Okay, and you come to me and say, ma'am, my phone number is changed. So change it. I search the Excel file. I change in one of the field. I change your phone number. Then what happened? What happened then?
Ma'am, there will be misinformation.
Tell me clearly how it will be a misinformation. What happened?
And we have to change in the other two also.
That is the different thing. Now, what is the situation? That is the different issue. Now, what is the problem?
Inconsistency.
The term is inconsistency. Means after few days, if I check which is your actual number, I can't recognize that which one is your actual number or what you have said. So in one record, your phone number is different than the other two records. So anyone can think, is it which one is the correct? That these two are correct, or that where it is put only once it is correct, and if there is no uh, chaining or there is no checking thing that it is correct or not or which one is correct, this situation is called the inconsistency. If you have multiple records, same records in your file, then this problem can arise. One is the data redundancy, as I do not have the checking, so I can multiple time I can put the same record. It is actually the data redundancy. Redundancy means multiple times the same information you are storing. So data redundancy will be there, and whenever this situation occur, means you are updating something and you have updated only one record, one or two you have missed, then it becomes the inconsistent data. No one will believe this data. Okay. Next problem will occur, that is program data dependence. Program data dependency is if you are putting some information in the Excel file, some of you say that I can access with C. Okay. Some of says that I want to access it from C++ or Java. Then the problem will be when you are saying that you have to fetch it from the Excel file, you have to mention in which file you have to access it, what is the name of the file, in which column you want to. Okay, so your programs will be very much dependent on the file type. Means if you are changing one Excel to another Excel, you have to change the whole thing. That is the problem of, but that will be clear later. Okay, and another problem, lack of flexibility. You already told me that multiple user at the same time cannot access it, so that is the problem of flexibility. Integrity problem is whenever you have some data and in other file you have put the same some for example, you have a student table and you have a marks table. Okay, now, if you do not have any checking, so you cannot check the all student are present in the student table, all the marks are there in the marks table or not. All the marks are updated, all the students are present there or not. That's not possible to check. This kind of problem is called the integrity problem. I told you later about the integrity thing. Okay, and the concurrency control already I told you, and the security already. Some students are waiting. Where? No, Saurabh. No one is there.
Ma'am, some students haven't got the invitation link of Google Classroom, so they are asking for that.
You send your from mobile phone. If you can, you send it, because I don't know how can I send them, because in the Google Classroom I have put this link. Any other option is there to send them the link?
Yes, ma'am. Can you tell me the class code? There is some
Yes, yes,
class.
yes, yes. You forward the code. That's why I am giving you. That just
Ma'am,
forward the link then.
only you can see the class code.
No, the class code. Okay, that I will tell you later. Right now, you just forward the meeting link there.
Yes, ma'am. That I have sent.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you very much. Only one student mail me for that. Okay. And poor security. Some of you already mentioned this thing that the user ID password if is not there, anyone can open your file. Okay. Now all these problems have solved by the, so those which are the problem with the traditional file system, all are the advantage of the DBMS. So that it will control the redundancy, it will restrict the unauthorized. If you do not have the user ID and password, no one can enter into the system. Okay, and multiple user at the same time can access it. Okay, and complex relationship also provided there. Integrity constraint, you can provide that all the student which is present in the student tables, all the marks must be uploaded in the marks table. Okay, that is the integrity constraint. Means if you impose that integrity, that all the students which are present in the those who are present in the student table, their marks also will be present in the, maybe the marks can be zero, but that student will be present in the marks table. Okay, that is the integrity. You can enforce that thing also. So what is actually the DBMS do? It will act as a interface between the application programs and the physical data files. Okay, separate the logical and physical views of the data, that I will discuss you later, which is the physical view and logical view. And redundancy we can eliminate, already we told you, and data security, since your data will be secure, no one from other than the authorized user can access it. Only those whom you will permit to access them, that will only they will get the permission. Okay, now you have to learn this thing, that is whenever we are storing the data in the database. Okay, actually there are three files. One file is which actually in the I think most of you have the idea about the computer system. Okay, how many different types of memories are there?
Ma'am, two types, RAM and ROM.
RAM and
ROM,
ROM. No other memories are there?
Cache memory.
R or and what is the size of your phone memory? Specification. Tell me your phone specification.
256 GB.
Key 256 GB
Internal memory.
internal memory. What is that?
Secondary storage.
The hard disk.
Secondary storage. That is hard disk. Okay. So actually, when you talked about the memory, actually mainly two types of memories are there. One is the RAM or ROM, that type of memory which is called, what is the term we use for RAM or ROM?
Primary
Random
memory.
access memory.
No, that is not.
Volatile
About
memory.
Primary memory.
volatile memory, yes. Volatile memory. If you put anything in the memory and when the power will off, the data will lost. So that's why it's called the volatile memory. And if we want to store it, or the term some of you use persist, so that it will persist, where we have to store it? For persistence of data, where we have to store it?
Secondary
in
storage.
the hard disk.
Yes, secondary storage or hard disk. Okay. So now, but whenever we talked about the accessing, when we talked about to store it in the application, means when you are opening your WhatsApp. Okay. So what is WhatsApp? Is it an application program or it is only a database?
Application program.
Do it need a database?
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
it's a bit
Yes. So where the database is?
From
on
data
website.
center.
Contact.
hard disk.
Mm,
No,
yes,
I'm
ma'am.
talking about the in which memory. The database is stored in the hard disk, even if your application also in the hard disk. But whenever we want to execute it, means whenever you are pressing the button, WhatsApp button, okay, some of the part of it will be in your RAM. Then only it can the CPU can open it. CPU, I think all of you have the idea that CPU only can access, basically those who are from the electronics department, they know better than me that whenever you have to open a file or if your computer will works, everything should be in main memory. They only CPU can access from main memory or cache, isn't it? Hmm?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. So whenever you want to the same thing, because the what WhatsApp or Gmail, anything you say, a application program is there in the front end, and in the back end you have a database. Okay, so the application program and your database both is in your hard disk, and whenever you want to access it, then some of the portion of it should be in the RAM or main memory or primary memory, anything you can say, the memory. Then only it can be accessed, and any modification you are doing, you must have to store it in the hard disk once again. Otherwise it's a volatile memory and it will not persist. Here,
So ma'am, cache memory help to access fast. Is
faster.
it?
Yes.
So ma'am, why do we sometimes delete the cache memory to run
delete
the
ca- Delete the cache
delete the
memory
cache?
means
Yes, ma'am.
the
In
content
every
of the
application.
cache. You're
Yes,
talking
ma'am.
about content of the cache, huh? So that if your cache is clean, then it will be faster so that you can put something. But if it is full, just think about it. You have a white sheet, you can write it faster, or you are writing with a pencil, you will erase it then write it, which is the fastest one?
Obviously, ma'am, if the board is clean.
The same thing.
Okay,
That's
ma'am.
why we are cleaning our RAM. Most of the time, we in our phone we will clear our RAM, isn't it?
Yes.
So when it is clear, it will be faster because it just put in the from hard disk to RAM and open it. But if it is full, that means you have to replace it. Whatever in your RAM, you have to replace it in the hard disk. Then only a new page you can, or new information you can store there. Just like, think about this thing, you have a pencil, you have a paper, you write something, after that you are erasing it with a eraser, then you are writing something. It will take time. But if I have a clean and fresh page, it will be much more faster to write something. Only you have to write something. That's why after a period of time, it is suggested that if you clear your RAM or cache, then the accessing will be faster. So swapping is will not be required. Okay. Here,
Yes, ma'am.
okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Then I go to the that what is in your syllabus. So for this concept actually means you have to bring something from hard disk to main memory. You have to store somewhere so that easily you can access the data. That's why three different file we maintain, or DBMS actually maintain. One is the external schema, next one is the conceptual schema, third one is the internal schema. Every time when you want to access something, external view will call the conceptual schema will call the internal schema. Now just try to learn the thing. When we talked about a student file, okay, and just think this thing like, sorry, just think about this view. The order number, a number is there, order date, a date is there, item number, this file. Okay, that is called the external view. Means when a external user, means those who are using the database, they know what these are the information I can have, I can access those things. that view is called the external view. Now, for showing this view, what you require? You have to store it somewhere in the hard disk, so that whenever I told you that to give me the details of order number 4340, so it goes to that particular location and access that thing, isn't it? So in the hard disk somewhere you have to put the data, and that location information or anything you must have to store somewhere. That file is called the internal schema. Okay, that is the first one. This internal schema, which is in your hard disk where your data is stored, that information is written. That is called the internal schema or the physical schema. Okay, now external schema and internal schema is clear. In between these two, okay, a conceptual schema is there. A conceptual schema actually says that roll number, it will be a number. So is it properly the integer is saved there or not? Okay, that thing will be written some files. Means whenever we talked about it's a roll number or it's a primary key, it's a name, this is the size. So that should be maintained somewhere. That file called the conceptual schema. So the opening will be easier for the operating system or the drivers. Okay, all the hardware drivers, it will be easier. So these are my information is the external view. Conceptual view is used for mapping from that external view to actually where the physical information is stored. So that's why three different files is maintained by the DBMS architecture, and it will be easier for the user, means those who are using it. Those who write the application program, they will consult the conceptual schema. Those who are just using the select queries, okay, select star from table, all those things, they can use the external view, means these are the information I can have. So this type of query I can generate, or our query can generate this type of information. And actually what is saved in the database, it is totally OS will used, that is the internal schema, means physically where actually in the hard disk where your data is saved. Okay, this is required for your concept, so it will be clear that what is happening there. And the data independence concept is what is written in the internal schema. If you change your internal schema, the conceptual schema will not hamper. And if you change in the conceptual schema, the fetching the information from the external level, it will not be a problem. That is the data independence concept. Means if you change something in the conceptual schema, you do not need to change the external schema. And if you change anything in the internal schema, you need not to change anything in the conceptual schema. That independency they have. And these are some functions of the DBMS for definition. Manipulation is actually handling, accessing, security, integrity, recovery means if you are opening your database and power is lost, what happened? How you can get back your information? Okay, concurrency control problem means multiple time you are purchasing a online ticket, you are booking an online ticket in the railway reservation system. So it's never permit you to book the same ticket by two user. Okay, or one user cannot book the same ticket. Okay, so these are the concurrency control mechanism that will must be the function of the DBMS. And some information means those who are not aware about the subject, they can learn the where, what is it, how many informations are there. The data dictionary is there, and the performance is the, it will perform well. Okay, and these are the types of databases. Okay, you don't need to learn it. Only the thing is, you will learn the relational database. Only one database you have to learn, that is the relational database. And in the relational database it look like a table, means this is the order table, some column names or attributes names or field actually are there. Okay, and the for a particular entity or particular object, one row will be generated about the about its own information. Okay, not two or more entity information will be in the same row. If some fields information is not available, that you can put blank, but everything will be there. Okay, so this view is two-dimensional table is called the relational table. Up to this it is clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Ma'am,
Yes.
I could not understand the internal schema, external schema, all that things. Can you repeat that part?
Yes, definitely. Okay, now come to this picture. Okay, if you want to store any information in the hard disk, what you have to store there? Those who have the programming concept, means you have done the C in your first year. I know every one of you the numerical CPNM. Okay, you have learned CPNM.
Yes, ma'am.
So, what you have to do for storing any information?